Hey there, what's good YouTube? Target here and welcome to another episode of Design and Manage, my city Skylines and Modded Let's Play series. I hope you're having a fantastic day. As for myself, I'm running a bit sick. I kinda have a cold and that's why my voice may sound a little different. But anyway, on the last episode we have built the road layout that you see on the bottom right corner of the screen. And today I think we can start preparing the layout for zoning. And for that I want to build a pedestrian pathway network. And you already know why I do this, but I like to fill my road layouts with pedestrian pathways to provide a way for citizens to walk from one corner of the layout to the other without having to drive. And that will significantly decrease traffic. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna turn into tile maps and I'll meet you in a couple of minutes to show you the final result and explain you how it works. So I'll see you in a second. Will you look at this mess? Paths everywhere. But I actually like the way it turned out to be. It looks very interesting and very complex, so I think we can keep it. Or at least we can see how well it works. But anyway, let me just give you a closer look. We are going to go throughout the entire layout and I will show you some details of what we have so far. Okay, so starting off with the bottom right corner of the layout, this is no different than what I've been doing so far. I usually place my pathways in the middle block of the zoning blocks because I leave 11 blocks between roads, so I kind of leave this very peculiar gap that I used to place some pathways, which is the space that I've used for these connections. And I've tried to connect the layout to the other part of the residential suburbs as much as I could, so that people could walk from one district to the other without having to drive, to reduce the traffic, of course. So I have this connection right about over here that I've made, and I also have another one over here, and also another one below the railway, but that's part of the other layout that I'll speak about in a minute. So this area is pretty much covered with pathways. People can go pretty much anywhere by walking with elevated pathways. Then moving on to the layout on the other part of the highway, I kind of have this pathway that kind of goes along this road, this curvy pathway. And I also have a cycling road that connects this road with cycling lanes to this road with cycling lanes. So it's in the tunnel. Yes, there you go, you can see it right here. So it provides an access for people to go from one way to the other as well. Now, moving on to this layout, I've kind of made these roundabouts that are not really necessary, but I really like the way they turn out to be, even though they occupy quite a bit of zoning space, but I kind of like them, so we are going to keep them. And as you can see, they're all connected with each other. There's ways to access all of these roundabouts from every single corner of this layout. So for example, on this side we have this pathway network that connects directly to the roundabout, and the same thing over here, and also on the bottom side. And yeah, there you go. And I've also made a connection to the train station for obvious reasons, because this is going to be the first stop from people who are coming from outside the city while catching the train, and most people will get out over here, so that's something to keep in mind. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that this bottom road that you see right next to the railway is all converted into a road with cycling lanes that goes along and throughout the entire city. So it continues the pattern that I've created on this part of the layout, so that people have a way to cycle from one corner of the city to the other corner. And when they get to the very end of the city, they get this cycling road that goes off the road, and it'll connect and connects directly with this avenue, which happens to have cycling lanes as well, in order to give cyclists a way for them to go to the bottom layout. So all of this is an avenue with cycling lanes. And with this, we provide the entire city with bicycle lanes for cyclists, of course. Moving on to the bottom side of the layout, I have this horizontal pathway that connects these blocks together, giving citizens a way to travel from one way to the other without having to cross this avenue, which previously they had to use this walkway over here and also this one. Now they can simply use the pathway. And this pathway goes along the entire layout. They go under the bridge and connect to this layout. And here we have a mess of pathways. First we have this one that connects to the northern part where the university will be. I kinda made these oval access points, which I really like and I really enjoy. And over here we have this oblique pathway that cuts the grid and connects directly with the rest of the city. And I also have another connection to the city over here that connects directly to the university layout and also to the bottom part. And I think I've managed to cover and provide access points in every single point of this layout, and I'm really satisfied with how everything turned out to be. Moving on a bit further, we see some more pathways. So I have another connection to the other part of the city over here that goes under the road and also under the railway, that provides quite a bit of access points. And we have another access point to the elevated pathway, and another one to this cul-de-sac, and another one to this one over here. And then I have this tunnel that connects directly to this pathway that again goes around a curvy shape and connects again to the other part of the city. So as you can see, I have covered pretty much everything with pathways. Finally, the only thing that I haven't spoken about yet is the park that I have in the middle of the city. So if I come over here, we can see our park area. As you can see, I've provided quite a bit of gates already. and I've done so just so I could connect and make the basic structure of the pathway network. And nothing of this is final. As you can see, the pathways are all set in the normal pathway, the one that comes with the base game. These will all suffer some changes in the future. I don't think I want to make it this greedy, and of course I will change it when I place some buildings to increase leisure in this park area. But I've pretty much connected all the gates with some pathways. So as you can see, we have a gate over here. And by the way, the main gate is this one, this big gate. And we have one gate over here, another one over here in this part of the layout, so people can cross one way to the other using this park. Then I have another gate over here and another one over here. And I think I only have two other gates on the other part of the city, such as this one and also this one. Another thing that I've tried to do, and if you pay attention, you will see that the only way for citizens to cross from this northern part of the district to this southern park, without using cars of course, is by using the pathway that goes on the park. So this one over here, if I can show you a bit more, this one, this tunnel. And the reason I've done this, in case you haven't watched my last episode, is to encourage people to use the park and also pay the ticket price when they want to go from one part of the district to the other. But we'll just have to see how well it goes. I get a feeling this park is going to be very populated when I start adding some buildings. But we'll have to wait and see. But anyway guys, it's time to start working on the city. First and foremost, there's some things that I want to address. First of all, most of you didn't like the idea of putting the recycling centers right next to these ruins, and understandably so. Perhaps we can make something much more interesting out of this. I've already been testing out some things, and I know that I can put some pathways in the middle of this layout without destroying anything. So that's something that I might work on in the future. I might do something over here, maybe a manual tourist attraction. Not sure how well that's going to work, but we'll have to put the recycling centers somewhere else, perhaps over here or something, far away from this thing. Also, something else that I want to do before start zoning on the city is pay attention to my disaster facilities. Some of you have already pointed out this, but I haven't provided a lot of shelters for the new areas, and that's something that we can start working on. So I have already have the small emergency shelter selected, so let's place it and make some coverages in areas that still do not have it. So I think I'm going to place one right about in this area here. There you go, perfect. That should be enough to cover this entire area. And I also think I'm gonna put another one, maybe let's put two of them. One over here and another one right next to this thing, so here. And I think that's it for this part of the city. I also need to put this thing in this area, so I think one right next to the airport is going to be very fitting. So I think I'm gonna even put it in this roundabout because it's very easily accessible, and look at that, I think it looks awesome. And yes, don't worry, I haven't forgotten that I have to make the routes for the emergency buses. But now that we are over here, maybe I can put a big one in this area because this is quite a populated area. And let's see, I need to find a good place for this. Perhaps I can put it right here in this open area. Let me just check it out. And yeah, I think that works well, and I think it fits with all these big buildings. So yeah, we're gonna keep it, and now it's time to make some routes. Okay, so the entire city is now covered with shelters now. So let's move on with other things regarding disasters. So first and foremost, the radio mast. Let's see the radio coverage. We have this area completely covered except for this area and also this one. So what I think I'm gonna do is grab one of these small towers, and I'm gonna put one right next to the airport, and I think I can combine it with one of these towers, but I don't know, is this going to look good? Perhaps if I move and scoot these buildings a bit to the right, and now I can put that tower right about over here. Let's see, here. And now this entire area is covered, and let me just see how well this looks. Well, it doesn't look half bad actually. We'll keep it. But I think that's not enough. Yeah, it's not enough, so I need to put another one right about over here. So I think for the time being, I'm just gonna put it here, and I will move it as time goes by. And I also think we can go ahead and prepare this area for disaster, so I don't have to worry about this in the future. I am gonna put one right about over here, and I need to make sure that it covers this entire layout, so I think this is actually the perfect place for it, right in the corner. And there we go, very good. I might replace it for a big one because well, this one doesn't have that much of a coverage anyway, so yeah, we'll see about that. I also need some more earthquake sensors, that's for sure. So I already have a couple of them. I think, well, actually I think I only have one of them. These ones are fairly cheap, so I don't think there's a problem in putting more of them. This industrial site is actually voided of any earthquake sensors, which is surprising. So I think I'm gonna put one right about over here to protect this entire layout. And there you go, very good. I don't know what's this line all. Oh, there we go, perfect. That was only a glitch. And we need to put another one somewhere around here. And let's see, a very small place that does not require any zoning. So maybe over here, because I'm not taking up any zoning spaces. So let's put it right next to this tunnel. And there you go, it even looks good. Let's just check out its coverage, perfect. And everything else is covered, pretty good. Let's move on to the tsunami thingies. And I think we can just move these. So I'm gonna grab this and move it to the corner of the city. And let's see how many others do we have. We have these things on the outskirts of the map, and I think that's where we want to keep them. Oh, wait a second, I found something. Let's put this one, how about over here? And this one, where is it? There we go, this one. Let's put it in this corner. And this one can actually come over here. Okay, pretty cool. I think we're now covered. Are we missing anything? No, we are not. Perfect, we have completely covered the city for disasters. Alright guys, and with this we are now ready to start working on this new layout, but we are not going to zone anything just yet. I know, you are getting impatient, but you will have to wait a bit longer because there are still a few things that I want to prepare before starting to move citizens into this area. One of them is of course public transport, and we need to take care of that right now. So the simulation is paused. And what I'm gonna do is continue the metro line. I am going to continue this loop line, and I'm gonna make it and bring it all the way until this train station. And I also want to continue this train line over here that is currently ending at around this station, at this university, to be honest. And I want to bring it all the way over here to the train station as well, in order to provide a kind of a transport hub for people to transfer from the train to the two different metro lines. So that's what I'm gonna do. I am going to delete this loop over here, and I'm going to continue the metro line. I think I'm gonna have the two stations right next to each other, so I'm gonna put one right over here and the other one right next to it. So there we go, and now we just need to connect everything. So let's make a connection here, delete all of this. Okay, one corner is done. Now we just need to connect it to this one as well, and of course the tunnel is going to be a problem, but if we go one deep, still not enough. Too deep, there we go. And let's bring it up, and we can even do the same with the other line as well. Alright guys, I have just worked on the metro lines. I think they turn out quite well. I've put them all off because I don't want them spending any money at this point in time, because metros are fairly expensive. What we can do, however, is set up the metro lines already. So this stop needs to come over here, and we need to make the stop over here, of course. So I provided a station to this avenue, and the next station is going to be in between these two roundabouts in the very central area of the northern layout. So there's another stop. Then of course we are going to have another stop next to the train station. There we go. And finally we are going to start wrapping around, and we made the station at this point because it's very convenient with the angle of the metro line. And we are going to have another one right next to the site of our future university, and we are going to wrap it around here. Now regarding the other line, we can just do the same in the inverse direction. Okay, I've just provided the stops for every single station. I am just making sure that every station has stops on either side, and that should be more than enough. Let me just check out these ones and this one as well. And yeah, of course, we're right. We're okay. And now let's move on to the other line. So I'm just gonna bring the final stop and bring it all the way to the train station. So there we go. And now we can start making some stops. Oh, and by the way, I had to terraform this area quite a bit, because the metro station is elevated and that was messing up with the terrain, which is okay. Instead of zoning buildings in this road, I will simply zone them in this portion of the land. So no biggie with that. Let's just finish up the metro lines. And there we go, another station over here, right along the avenue. And the line continues all the way over here. That will provide access to this area that I still haven't decided where I'm gonna build here. Some people have suggested the zoo, and that's something I'm actually considering. Now finally, before wrapping up this public transport tab, I will want to bring the tram line that you see over here in purple. I will want to bring it all the way to the end of the city, but I want to do it on the coastline. So I'm gonna reserve that for when I work on this coastal area right about over here. Okay guys, we are very close to start the zoning of the new layout, but you guys know me, I like to leave everything prepared before I start working on a project, and because of that, I want to provide everything with water, and I also want to set up all the services for this layout. So I want to place all the hospitals, all the police stations, all the fire stations, all the schools, all the parks, etc. in this area. I'm gonna disable them all so that I don't spend unnecessary money, and then when I have everything set in stone, I will start zoning my buildings. The only thing that I might not place just yet in this area are the unique buildings, because I will want to be quite considerate when it comes to them. So we have quite a limited amount of unique buildings, and I still want to plan out how I want to use each type of building. But anyway, let's just pause the simulation because I'm about to do some major damage in my budget. As you can see, we are already on the red zone. That's not good at all. That's because of all the roads that I have just placed, and they are all consuming money. So we need to start zoning on this area ASAP. And let's start with water, shall we? Okay, I've just provided water to the entire layout, and now we can start worrying about other things. So first and foremost, we need to check out the hospital situation. I will probably want another big hospital at around, let's say, over here. And I wonder if this is going to be enough to cover the entire city. I don't think that's going to be the case, but let's just place one right about over here. There you go, perfect. And let's just disable it. And I think I will probably need another clinic, probably around this area, just to provide that extra bit of coverage. And let's put it on the corner. Okay, turn it off. And now let's worry about cemeteries, because we are going to need quite a bit of them. Cemeteries are quite cheap to maintain, so I'm not really that worried about them. So I'm just gonna place one here, and I wanna place another one. It's too bad that I cannot place over this highway, but I don't know, maybe I can find another place for it. Oh, look at this, perfect fit. There we go, I'm gonna place it there. And again, I'm gonna turn them all off for the time being. And I'm gonna put a final cemetery at about this corner where it doesn't bother anyone. So maybe I could even place it over here. No, let's not make things complicated. Let's just put it here. And now we can also put some crematoriums to facilitate and help the cemeteries. Crematoriums are actually quite useful, so I'm gonna place one over here and another one over here. And finally, we can put a final one over here, right next to the clinic. Okay. Regarding fire protection, this area is pretty much covered with this big fire station, so I think I'm just gonna put one on this northern part of the layout. So let me just try and check out a good place for it. I think this is gonna be it. Very good protection for everything. Perhaps I just need a small one right about over here, just to cover this small area. The police follows pretty much the same logic, so I'm gonna place a police station right next to the fire station, and I'm gonna put a small police house in this area as well. Finally, moving on to education, this is always a sensitive area because I never know how many buildings I need to place. But moving on, or starting off, should I say, with elementary schools, I will definitely need another one over here. So there we go, perfect. I'm even going to rebuild the pathway that I have destroyed. Then we need another one in this layout. Let's mix things up a bit, shall we? Let's put the community school here because it fits perfectly. Look at that. That's great actually. And I think that will be enough to cover this entire area. We'll just have to wait and see. And I think I'll just put a final elementary school over here. This area is going to be dedicated for offices and commercial, but I think I'm even going to put some residential in, so we need to place some schools. So I think I'm going to place another elementary school right here. Perfect. And of course we need to take care of high schools as well, so I'm gonna put one over here because it has quite a bit of nice coverage, and I think I'm gonna put a final one probably around this part of town. You know what, let's actually put the Institute of Creative Arts, which is the Green City's equivalent of the high school, and we're gonna put it right next to the avenue because look how big the coverage is when you put it right on that area. So that's gonna be that. And finally, just like unique buildings, I am not going to place parks just yet because I want to place them based on demand, and I also want to wait a bit because I want to incorporate them together with unique buildings, and I still need to think I want to develop each type of layout with parks and unique buildings. So I'm going to leave it for another stage. Oh, and we have almost forgot about one of the most important things, which is the second university. So we already have one university in the city, which is this one. I actually use the Green Cities University, which is the Modern Technology Institute, and for my second university I am simply going to use the normal university because I still haven't placed it. So as I've said, I am going to place it at this particular layout. Now I just need to find a good place for it, and initially I thought about placing it at about over here, right next to the avenue, because it has quite a big range, but I think I want to put it in a more centralized location, such as this part of the layout over here, and I think it will look very good in this particular location. So let's just place it and see how well it looks. I actually quite enjoy that, so let's just turn it off, as well as the rest of all the buildings. I think that's already taken care of, and yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and before you complain that this episode didn't have a forest fire, here we go. But anyway guys, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. We have made quite a bunch of progress in this episode, and I really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you have enjoyed watching it as well. In the next video we are going to continue the development of this layout, and we are, in the best case scenario, start zoning some buildings in it. If you want to follow the development of this particular city, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already to get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching guys, and as always, have fun!